Peace be upon you. In the past 2 episodes, we showed that the evidence for the existence of the Creator was everything, because the existence of creation and its fine-tuning necessitate a Creator. We also showed that this is conclusive proof for anyone of sound heart and mind, and that our arguments to address misconceptions are not part of the evidence. Therefore, if you felt that the arguments were overly complicated, it is because of the difficulty in explaining the glaringly obvious to those who argue about necessary axioms, not because proving the existence of Allah is a complex process. The skeptic may say, you are deducing the Creator's existence from the existence of creatures and their perfected design. Let's put aside the perfect design for now. Why do you assume that the existence of life forms requires a Creator? This assumption is not based on evidence. It is true that we don't know the reason why life originated on Earth, but science may reveal the cause in the future. So, instead of assuming a Creator to relieve yourself from the task of thinking, look for the scientific cause for the origin of life. We reply, okay, we'll postpone the discussion on fine-tuning and how such intricate order necessitates an all-knowing, capable, and wise doer. We'll discuss the issue of bringing things into existence. Allah the Exalted says, no, not an acceptable argument. Don't use Allah says since I don't cede that Allah exists in the first place. I am merely using the argument contained in Allah's words. I know you won't acknowledge the phrase, Allah says, so leave the belief to me and just discuss the rational argument in what I believe to be Allah's word. Agreed? Agreed. Allah says what is translated as, or were they created by nothing? Or were they their own creators? Or did they create the heavens and the earth? No, they have no certainty. Or were they created? You, man. What created you? What made you exist after you weren't there? What are the proposed possibilities? 1. That you were created by nothing. 2. That you created yourself. 3. That someone created you. The first 2 possibilities are clearly invalid, because nothing begets nothing, and you, the human being, after you came into existence are not able to increase your lifetime or prevent your aging and death by a single day, even with your fully developed body and mind. So, how could you have initially created yourself from nothing? So, we are left with the third option, that you came into existence by an external cause. You'll say, I came into existence from my father's sperm and my mother's ovum. Very well. This cause, in turn, who caused it? You will say, you will end up with Adam whom Allah created, whereas I will say it's a cell that evolved and we will not agree. No, hold on. Whatever the explanation is for the emergence of the human race, in the end, the chain of causality must stop at a certain point, even though we may differ over what this particular point is. This limit must exist, i.e., the starting point. The causes cannot regress infinitely. This is impossible. Why is an infinite regress impossible? I do not accept this statement. This is your problem. You don't acknowledge necessary truths, which require no proof. Infinite regress is impossible because it means that ultimately nothing happens. How is that? Why does infinite regress lead to nothing? I'll give you an example to explain why it is impossible. Imagine that we have a prisoner ordered to be released, and the soldier who guards this prisoner says, I will not release him until my commander gives the order. And his commander says, I cannot give that order until my commander orders it. And the commander of the commander says the same. Ad infinitum. This prisoner will never be released. If we find that, in fact, he was released, we can be certain that the chain of command stopped at a certain point, with someone who gave the order for the release without waiting for an order from someone else. Similarly, if you see a row of dominoes tumbling before you and you know that a domino cannot fall until the one before it falls, then you are certain that someone tipped over the first domino. You cannot say that there was no starting cause to trigger this domino effect. Similarly, in our case, if creatures require an infinite regress of causes to exist, there would be no creation in the first place. But there are creatures, which proves that the causal chain had a starting point, a first cause, that requires no prior cause to exist. This first cause's existence is or isn't preceded by his non-existence. If his existence was preceded by his non-existence, then he required a cause to bring him into existence. But we just proved the first cause has no prior cause. So this first cause is not preceded by his non-existence, but is eternal, with no beginning, autonomous, not requiring any cause to exist. Let's go back to the Quranic signs. Or were they created by nothing? Or were they their own creators? Or did they create the heavens and the earth? Rather, they have no certainty. What applies to you, the human being, applies to the universe and the earth. Mankind didn't bring them into existence after they did not exist, nor did they create themselves, nor were they created by nothing. They all needed a creator. The skeptic will say, well, even if we concede that there is a cause, call it a first cause if you wish. Why do you call this cause Allah and claim numerous attributes for him? The answer that follows from the previous discussion is, not only is there a first cause, but the fact that he caused creation shows that he has the attributes of power, life, and will. Were he not living, he could not have gifted life to creatures, as one cannot give what one does not have. By his will, he willed creation to exist, and through his power, his will was done. Once we start discussing the perfect design and exquisite detail in creation, we will see that this indicates other attributes as well, such as lordship, knowledge, wisdom, mercy, greatness, self-subsistence, and other attributes. Simply put, this creator, with these attributes, in the Islamic system is called Allah. Therefore, the belief in the existence of Allah is not merely an emotional, submissive issue, but an evidential, deductive, and rational issue, as well as an innate truth, as we have shown in previous episodes on the innate proof for Allah's existence. Our belief in the existence of Allah comes from deriving indisputable knowledge from necessary axioms. We never say, we don't know what created the universe, so let's just assume that Allah exists to resolve the issue. No. Rather, we say that it is a necessary logical deduction that the universe must have an eternal creator with certain attributes, who has no creator. Likewise, we do not say that we found the chain of causes going to infinity and wanted to put an end to it. So we assumed the existence of Allah to relieve ourselves from the effort of thinking. No. Our deduction is based on the impossibility of infinite regress in causes because its necessary result is the absence of existence, which contradicts observation and mind. When an atheist says, science may reveal the cause of life in the future, we say, no matter what science discovers, it will never show that nothing created life, or that life created itself, or that the cause of life is a sequence of events trailing back into perpetuity. Science does not reveal what contradicts mental axioms, because the invalidation of mental axioms basically leads to the abolition of science, as we demonstrated in episode 5. In the next episode, we will answer the question, if Allah created the creation, then who created Allah? Peace and mercy of Allah be upon you.